We might be live. If we are, I can't see it yet on my PC because there's probably a delay. But let's just wait.
Until someone...
Yep. Bonjour, Mark. Happy gardening.
I love it. Bonjour.
Okay, yeah, we've got our picture up, Kate.
Oh, that's perfect.
And it looks like, yeah, and I'm out of screen when I'm going there. Well, that's not professional, is it? I've been trying my best to get this live stream set up properly, well, for months now, haven't we?
Well, yeah.
It's tricky outside when you're going wireless to do these types of live streams, but I'm going to be persistent about it because it's about being outdoors, and I'm just going to keep going until I get it right.
Exactly, and it might take us a long time, but you can see I'm now actually, rather than sweating it out, it is actually cooler now here in Brisbane, which is beautiful, which just brings out a whole new sort of set of vegetables and salads and things.
Yeah, well, I'm still sweating it out because I'm running around trying to set all this stuff up. And we've got the dog in front of us here trying to stuff around with our lighting, which is not good. But thankfully that's wireless too, so she can't do any of that. Well, welcome to the live stream. Can I just do a couple of 1, 2, 3 checks? Can we just check the microphones, please, that you can hear Kate and I good enough?
So it'll be 1, 2, 3 check for me. Because last time we had a little bit of trouble. We could hear you could hear me, a big Italian foghorn voice, but we couldn't hear you.
No, that's right. There's a lot of questions coming in already. Have I grown a lot of spinach? Yes, I do, especially at this time of year. G'day from France, hello from Canada.
Oh, wow.
Audio 5 out of 5, really? We can hear you both. Gee, that's a miracle.
That's a miracle. Look, high five, yay. We start well.
Okay, good. Quality is good.
That's terrific.
Quality can be better. We're working on it. It's just a matter of tweaking. We got good Wi-Fi here, but like any Wi-Fi, it drops in and out, and I'm trying to get it more stable. So anyway, welcome to the live stream. I think we're good enough to be able to get stuck into it. Today we're going to go through 5 things that we're not growing, but some of them are still growing, but 5 things that I'm harvesting in May here in our subtropical climate. We're in autumn, so it's coming into winter, last month of autumn. We're going to go through 5 things, and I'm going to talk a little bit about them. At the same time, Kate is going to explain the nutritional values of these things, because I'm quite interested in, well, all of them, to be honest. Yeah. I do a lot of growing, I do a lot of eating, but I don't think a lot about the nutrition.
Well, but you know, a lot of people who do grow their own produce probably don't either. Well, they enjoy growing things, but you know, if I can add a few little sort of tidbits to say why something is actually good for you, and it's not about like, you know, just the drone of dietetics sometimes, but you know, someone might pick up, wow, you know, if I grow this, I'm going to get some extra fibre. If I grow this, I'm going to get some extra vitamin C. It's, you know, it's valuable.
Okay, all right. Number 1, and you're going to do some taste testing.
Yes,
I was going to say Kate testing. Taste testing.
Well, yes, I love doing that. Yeah.
And let's go to start off with probably the most interesting one to taste raw, and that's ginger. Have you probably would have eaten ginger raw before.
Oh, ginger, look, I think ginger is one of those things. I think when people think of ginger, they think of Thai food. They think of like adding a beautiful sort of spicy kind of element to your food, which, you know, most really just basic cooks use ginger in any of their sort of stir fries and in some of our sweet food as well. But do you know what? I think it's me knowing you, and when we came up and we harvested some of your ginger before, I took it home, I cut it up, dried it out, and I sort of like blitzed it, and so turned it into a beautiful fresh ginger powder. I started throwing that in, you know, foods as well as like some sweet foods, but then into hot water for teas and cold water for like a ginger refresher. I think it's one of those things that it's so universal in all of our foods, and it's so easy to grow. And it, you know, like I can grow it. I mean, the reason why I like being here is Mark's got this beautiful big garden, whereas I've only got like a little deck inner city Brisbane, which is very, very small, but I still manage to actually grow, you know, some ginger and some of these lovely sort of rhizome type vegetables. But yeah, eating it raw or pickled, I think like the Japanese really, they've nailed it when they pickle it, and it's refreshing, it's healthy, but it's also got some very good things for your gut.
It's got amazing antioxidants in it, doesn't it? Oh, that's been known for a long time. Patrick Dietician, I think it is, he has them in smoothies.
Oh,
So
yes.
probably to add a little bit of that extra sort of hit and spice in the smoothie.
Yep,
Goes really
beautiful.
good in drinks, yeah.
And I think the other thing that ginger is hailed for is this anti-emetic. So this anti-nauseant property, and what it does is it actually sort of works peripherally on your gastrointestinal sort of tract, helping to, I believe, and this is my reading, help emptying the stomach. When you feel nauseous, like, you know, this could be boat sickness, car sickness, train sickness, or something like hyperemesis gravidarum is that terrible morning sickness that we get as women in carrying babies. And this actually, for some women, they find it really, really handy. It's a natural way of kind of helping some of that nauseous feeling.
So, it's true then, is it?
Well,
Like, look, if I go out fishing on a
Yes.
boat, because I get chronic.
what do you mean if you go out fishing on a boat? I mean, really, self-sufficing me.
Yes, true. We've got a second channel called Self-Sufficing Me, and
Yes.
James, my son, runs it.
Yes.
I'm a little bit of the front man, but he's going to take over eventually.
Beautiful.
He's a gun fisherman, better than me, better than his old man who supposedly taught him. But anyway, I do get seasick, and that's one of the things I hate it.
Yeah.
But I love fishing.
Yes.
But, you know, I wish it was like gardening. I love gardening, and it's so easy.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I've modified gardening. I garden in raised beds when I can,
Yeah.
because it's easier for my back and all my injuries and stuff. But boating, you can't get away with it. You know, you're rocking from side to side, and you've got to take medication. Well, I do. Otherwise, I just throw up everywhere. Actually, that reminds me. It reminds me of my shirt, the Technicoloured yawn.
Now, I hope everyone's not having breakfast, really, because it's just not pleasant.
Yeah.
Or you could actually put some ginger in your breakfast. So, as one of the viewers was saying, they'd put some in smoothies. Absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful. So, the ingredient in there, there's two things. One's called a ginger roll and one's called a shagol. Now, I am no expert in ginger, so I've had a bit of a read, but it is actually this helping your stomach to empty. When you're feeling rocking and rolling around in your boat, Mark, and feeling very, very sick, which I get motion sickness as well, it's meant to help. Look, you know, during my pregnancies, I was actually quite sick with one of them, and I tried every conceivable form of ginger, and I had to move on to something called Maxilon, which does the same sort of thing, but in a much more heavy-duty way.
And that's medication,
That's
is it?
medication, yeah. But, you know, this would be your first line of defence. So not only does it taste nice, it's refreshing. It actually really does make your breath smell nice too. So it really, it's a lovely thing.
Well, have a smell of this. I plucked this out of the garden just this morning.
Gosh, that's beautiful.
So it's still growing, but, you know, coming into winter, it actually has stopped. So it'll stop and it'll eventually die off, and then this will stay in the ground. If you get a really wet winter, it's not good, because your ginger can rot over winter,
Okay.
and you'll lose it. So it's best to harvest it, whack it inside in the pantry somewhere. If you're worried that it's going to sprout, put it in a dark place. Don't put any prohibitor on it like the supermarkets do to stop it from sprouting. That's not good for us. Yeah. But yeah, and if it does sprout, by the time it's sprouting, it's usually the right time to plant out in your garden next spring anyway. But yeah, like Kate did say, it's very easy to grow ginger. And I'll tell you, this one here, I had some spare ginger from the garden that I forgot, and I'm walking past back up to the house. I think I had to take a phone call or something, and I whacked it in a pot where I'm growing a cherry tree. I'm trialling this cherry tree for a subtropical climate, which is going to be difficult, but we'll see how we go. Anyway, I threw some of these bits in the base of this cherry plant, and lo and behold, it started growing. So I threw some mulch over it. I didn't bury it. And from those little bits of scraps, we've got some excellent ginger that we can try right now.
So this is just raw, straight off
Raw,
your plant.
straight off the rhizome.
See, yum, and that's got that real
it's
spice.
Hokey crikey.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. So, you know, when
That's nature.
oh, isn't it beautiful? Absolutely. And you don't need to change that. Look, do you know what? If you wanted to sort of get a bit bougie, you could put a little bit of like some dark, high cocoa content, chocolate covered ginger.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That
yes.
would be, you know, you could actually sort of serve that. Yum. Really, really lovely. Really just refreshing. But again, I've had questions in my clinic. Is it better to eat raw, pickled, dried, you know, down to a powder, like ground down to a powder? I think they've all got their benefits. If you are grinding down to a powder, you've got a more concentrated form, but I guess you're going to get some vitamins and minerals in there that actually are sort of more, what do you call it, sort of balanced when they've got a water content. So as soon as you dry things, some of your water-soluble vitamins do actually sort of disappear.
Yeah, it changes the form as well.
Yeah, that is just beautiful. Just beautiful.
You having more of it?
Oh,
Oh, really? Crikey. I know, I do love ginger, but I have to say, usually when I've got a cold,
yep.
I'll blend it up with some lemon and honey.
Yeah.
A good whack of honey. Now that we've got our own beehive,
Yep.
I'll have a good whack of honey and maybe some juice of some, you know, something like orange juice, which we're going to get onto next.
Yep.
And that will just sort of make it a bit more pleasant. And it's hot, but it's good for you.
But it's absolutely. So,
Yeah.
you know, if anyone has beautiful recipes with ginger in it, you know, share them. I love finding out. I'm not very creative and I go looking for recipes, but usually the best ones are ones that people share that they've used over and over. Did you want some ginger too?
The dog's just down here
Can you see?
hassling us up. You can't see the dog from the main camera, but she's hassling us up from behind.
Yeah, I bet you if she got that ginger in her mouth, she'd know all about it.
Oh yeah. Hey Bella,
No. You'll have like...
try this.
No. Beautiful girl.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be taking some of that home for my
yes.
stir fry tonight, thank you.
Oh, I forgot to introduce you because I'm so used to you coming on. Dietitian, nutritionist, Kate, 30 years, just in case.
Not 30 years old. I'd like to say 30 years old.
Well, you look 30 to me.
That's the soft glow from the light here. But yes.
No, yeah, 30-year dietitian, nutritionist, expert in a field, very wise about food. I probably should have introduced you, but you'll see Kate's details in the bottom of in the details below the video, or the live stream. So you can check her socials out there, and she's written several books as well. Although you didn't bring any to show.
No, well look, I mean, my books that I have written have been sort of more sort of kids' meals,
Okay.
lunchbox things. I'm kind of moving more into, look, I'm a 56-year-old woman and it's probably not the right channel to be talking menopause, but you know, menopause is a big part.
So, health.
Well, it is. It's a big part of our lives, and you know, we have to sort of keep moving on. So I'm looking into foods and how that can help kind of get me through, and you know, your like lovely wife Nina and like lots of my friends as well, just getting the best out of life and eating the best we can to sort of, you know, minimise those kind of menopausal symptoms that we get. So watch this space. I'm doing a little bit of work in that area as
Okay, well done.
Yeah.
Good stuff. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to the next one, which is oranges.
Yes.
Orange season's only just started here. These are Washington navel oranges. You guys in the US would know all about these. They look like a navel. That's why they call them that. And they are one of the sweetest oranges. I'll cut some on, we can have a taste. These are early producers, which is why I like them, where you've got the Valencia, which holds on the tree for a long time, ripens a little bit later in the season. We've got a Lane's Late navel, and I recommend you growing those three at least. The Washington, the Lane's Late, and the Valencia. And you can get a seedless Valencia now too.
Wow.
Which is,
That's good.
because Valencias do have a few seeds in it, but you know, they're a great juicer, which is what I want to talk about in a second. But if you've got those three, you've got the Lane's Late that ripens later in the season. So you've got sort of midway, you've got the Washington first, Lane's Late, and then the Valencia that does ripen, but it holds on the tree right through, sometimes into summer if you don't pick them, which is fantastic for a backyard gardener who just wants to let those oranges sit on the tree and not let them start to perish if you pick them all, and then you have to give them away, and that there's nothing wrong with that, of course, but if you sit them on the shelf, they could go off, and then you feel like you have to juice them, which isn't really the healthiest way to do it. But Kate, I love orange juice.
Yes.
So if I'm going to have an orange juice as opposed to a Coke, which one's healthier?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, that's not even a question I need to answer. But I think, well, it's true. I think people get all sort of caught up in juice. The difference between the orange and an orange juice is if I just juice this one, I'm going to get probably about 100 mils out of there. Some of your bigger ones, maybe a little bit more, some a little bit less. By the time we have a glass of juice, we've probably got 2 or 3 oranges in there, and many of the juicing machines actually remove the pith, which is like lovely fibre for your gut, and it's a bulking agent. It's great for your bacteria in your gut to feed off. It's got lovely...
So a little bit of pith is good.
A little bit of pith is actually is very good for you.
And of course, it strains out some of the fibre in the juice pockets itself.
In the little
pulp.
The
pulp
there.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're getting a beautiful orange straight off your tree, juicing it and drinking it, the vitamin C cannot be any more potent. And it's not. By the time you look at juice that's actually off the shelf in your supermarkets, there's usually some sort of preservative to preserve what's going on there, and vitamin C added to it because you've had a degradation of the vitamin C. So, this is Mother Nature knew what she was doing when she brought it out just in that sort of autumn pre-winter time, because vitamin C is meant to be very beneficial just to keep your immune system sort of in top notch. There's been lots of studies on vitamin C and kind of the duration of colds and sort of viruses and things. So, a potent vitamin C around the winter time to help you fight things, as I said, Mother Nature knew exactly what she was doing. Yeah,
and if you're watching your weight, I'm trying to lose a few pounds, maybe go easy on the juice, don't have it all the time, have it occasionally, maybe once a week for you're going, maybe have a nice breakfast at home and you have a juiced orange.
I mean, if you just juice that orange, you're not overdoing your sort of calorie load there. You're getting your vitamin C, you're getting other sort of B group vitamins, but also...
that's sensible.
Bella! She's going for the oranges, sweetheart. But the vitamin C will also help unlock iron from things like, hello darling, oh she's so sweet. So you can't come up here and eat this because it's not for doggies. It's not for doggies. So the vitamin C helps to unlock the iron from iron-rich things such as eggs, from your iron-rich cereals. We've got iron-fortified bread here in Australia as well. And so for teenagers and things that are having that for breakfast, this actually helps the absorption of that iron. So look, again, we don't want to just replace water with juice. You do actually want to sort of hydrate yourself with water. Those kind of fluids are essential for the body, but again, with the juices, I think where we come a bit unstuck is people consume large amounts of it, and as their normal fluid supply. So, I think good old oranges are absolutely wonderful for our diet. I will touch on something. It was a couple of streams ago, I said something about that the orange peel was toxic. It's it's not toxic in the amounts that we use. When we're using the what do you call it, zest?
The zest,
and things, and orange peel in fruit cakes and things that's fantastic. I just had a gentleman a number of years ago that kind of blitzed the entire orange and was consuming quite a number of those ones, and he got a very, very bad gut response from that. So apologies for those people who sort of went, oh God, Kate, you have no idea what you're talking about. The pith is actually so handy for, thank you, so handy for flavouring of things in savoury as well as sweet. But just, I think everything, what you were asking me is, everything in moderation. If you don't have to go overboard, just because they're good for you doesn't mean you have to have litres of it.
Yep. And to have a taste of that one. No, Bella.
Oh, that's
Mandy's online. Mandy, she moderates our forum over at Self-Sufficient Culture. A lot of you probably don't even know that I have a forum website. I'm not on there all the time. I jump on there occasionally, but I formed it years and years ago as a way for people to hopefully get together and share their self-sufficiency. It's called Self-Sufficient Culture, selfsufficientculture.com, the culture of self-sufficient living. And Mandy runs that, so she's in the moderation she's going through the chats at the moment. So that's, if you wonder who Mandy is, that's who she is. That's why she's quite active in the stream there.
Beautiful. That is divine. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's very sweet, isn't it? Probably one of the sweetest oranges. It's probably the best one, I think, to eat like an orange. Whereas the Valencia is good to juice. Lane's Late is nice to eat like that as well. But you wouldn't be juicing these. They're probably more on the sweet side because it wouldn't be as good for you either, because there's probably more sweetness in it, more sugar, because obviously it tastes like it. But B, it gets a bit sickly juiced.
Whereas it's so much nicer just eating it itself, and there really isn't a huge amount of pith between each segment, so it's a very, very easy to eat. Lovely, lovely oranges.
Now, I know I'm not, constantly going in the comments section and reading out things. Sorry about that. Maybe one day we'll get better at doing that type of thing. But so we'll concentrate on the live stream and going through these, and then after I'll go through the comments section and try to answer questions. So we'll have a bit of a Q&A at the end of the segment.
And I'm also very, very able to, or happy to, if there's repetitive questions after the stream, I can go on and answer them.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So
if you've got questions and things.
So you'll monitor it occasionally.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Kate will monitor the comments section, which is different to the chat, and that's after this is finished. And so if you want to put comments down there, that'd be great. Thanks, Kate.
Yep, no worries at all.
So let's stick with citrus, because I want to see Kate's face when I cut this thing open. But the pomelo behind us here.
Can you get a really big one?
Yeah, I'm
sure. I had no idea. I actually looked at the nutritional sort of like identity of a pomelo, and it said 240 calories per pomelo. I went, oh, that's ridiculous.
I thought this would be a tricky one for you.
I don't think.
Hang on, there's a helicopter coming over. Of course there is. Why don't you just hover right here?
That's all right. Oh, if you could see this tree heaving with pomelos.
Have a look at this. I made a short the other day. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I said these two here look like King Kong's kahunas. Look at this, Kate.
Okay, so, you wouldn't say, can I please have half a dozen pomelo in my shopping trolley?
Oh, no, you wouldn't.
That is the size of my face. That is huge. I'm sorry for my ignorance here, but I've never seen one of these actually in a supermarket or a fruit store.
They're not very common, and you will see, they look a bit like a grapefruit, and what I love about them is they're one of the original citrus. And a lot of other citrus are derived from the pomelo, from the citron, from those wild citruses, and they've hybrid them and they've created all these wonderful citruses and lemons and oranges and limes and that we have the standards at the supermarket. You don't see these big ones much at the supermarket. I don't think people would buy them enough. That you see them in Asia.
Yeah.
In Asia, they're very popular. And you were talking about the pith before. Let me cut this on. I've got something to talk about the pith.
Well,
I'll swap cameras. See if we can see that.
So this probably will then be the reason why there is 6 grams of fibre per pomelo. Oh my gosh. Look at that. It's like a grapefruit. So it's an Asian pink grapefruit.
Yeah,
Wow.
It is. Here, hold that.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Now I'll go and take this in closer. Yeah, this is a pink variety. The name just evades me right now, but I'll follow it up and let you know what it is.
What have you use these for?
Oh, we juice them, just eat them like that. They're full of fibre. They're more fibrous than any other citrus. I have not used the pith. So the pith, you see how wide it is. It can be quite bitter on other citruses, like I was saying before about the orange. But in Asia, they will use this like a carbohydrate. They'll use this like a zucchini. They'll get rid of the rind, and they will cut this up into chunks and use it in stews, use it as a filler. Of course you would, especially if food is short.
Yeah.
You're not going to waste such a beautiful big tree. And pomelos are so easy to grow because they're one of the original citrus. They're not fickle at all. They're very hardy, and they're not a huge tree either, which makes them good for a backyard. You know, have a taste of some? Yeah, see what I mean by they're quite fibrous? So they're chewy but like from a dietitian, nutritionist point of view, that's pretty good for you too, wouldn't it?
Oh, and that is a lot less sweet than your oranges. But
Yeah.
it's not as sort of bitter as some of our grapefruit. Like our yellow grapefruits can be quite bitter, but
Exactly, yes.
but you know, the pink grapefruit is very popular here.
The Rio Red, yeah.
Yes, yes. But that is just, that fibre, trying to pull that off there. That'll take a while for me to grind that down in my mouth, no wonder. Because I thought like the average apple is about 1.5 grams of fibre.
Yeah.
This is 6. Now that's obviously not eating that big rind, this is just eating the fruit inside, but I reckon you and I'd battle to get through one of these.
Oh yeah, oh you do, you for sure do.
But that is beautiful.
They're good at parties.
In what respect?
Well, they certainly get the eyeballs. I cut one of these on for our son's 18th birthday the other day, and you should have seen the young kids looking at it. It looked like they thought it was an alien.
Yeah, well, it does look a bit alien inside.
Yeah.
No, you could cut that out and you could sort of have a bowl of something rather, or could.
Oh, you could too, couldn't you? Yeah.
Well, just when you said like a zucchini or like a, one of those kind of, but more carbohydrate-y, I didn't even know that.
Just eat it like that, Kate.
Oh my God. Then it'll be all over your beard. But that's beautiful. They are just, there's a fair, sizable amount of fluid in this. Like they are sort of pulped up, like they're buoyant little pith. Not pith, what did I call it before? The pulp.
Yeah, the pulp.
That is really nice. And it's sweet. It's sort of got that.
Yeah, but it's not
refreshing.
It is. That's the word, refreshing. You juice this, which we do. It's not as sweet as an orange, and I'd be certain it's not as high in calories as an orange this big.
Yeah.
Imagine an orange that big.
Oh God, yeah. Well, you'd need one for a whole litre, really.
Yeah.
But this is just, I'm actually having quite a bit of fun here pulling these things apart.
I'm really enjoying it. I just had a taste. It is very, very tasty.
Well, it's a
Very
shame.
refreshing.
I wonder, are these quite common in your area?
Yeah,
do people buy them?
I've had a few people say in Asia.
Oh, right.
A few people from over in Asia are saying that they get these all the time and they've seen them around a lot.
Yeah.
A jelly would be good for pomelo, Rohan, the rock with the rocket. Washington Navel, tangerine, and Lisbon lemon. This is Frank. But winter killed them, he reckons. Yeah, it's a shame if you're in a colder climate you can't grow some of these. There are some citrus, like lemons are very tolerant of the cold. You could try that. Certain lemons. What about the yuzu? We've got a yuzu Japanese lemon. I think they're actually native to China, but the yuzu Japanese turned it into a really nice condiment and a vinegar wine. Goes good with sushimi. So try yuzu as a lemon in a colder climate. And you can also grow smaller citrus, like citrus in a pot, put them in a conservatory, put them in a hothouse. Those lots of lemons in a little pot, they grow fabulous. And you can grow kumquats and those types of smaller, of course they're not as sweet, but you can still get your citrus fix and your vitamin C by growing one of them in a nice sunny spot. They grow well over in Europe. I've seen them everywhere.
Well, they're lovely in pots too, and I'm going to ask Mark a question because, so again, unlike having a huge garden, we grow things on a deck, and I've got pots which are probably about 1 metre by probably maybe 50 centimetres sort of like diameter, and I've got lemon, lime and an orange, and my orange is constantly with a leaf curl. Now I've made sure it's got enough water, I've sprayed the nutrients on the leaves, I've even put sort of like a mulch over the top, I've put some marigolds underneath to sort of like make sure everything's sort of, you know, keeping the fluid in there. What am I doing wrong?
You're not doing anything wrong. Leaf curl and it's pretty common on citrus. You'll see it all through our citrus trees. I don't know if we can, just as I say that, you can't see it much on this one.
No.
But here, maybe?
Yeah. So a little bit, like they just look like they're trying to sort of conserve water, but obviously do I just leave it alone for a bit?
It's a leaf miner that you'll have. You have little curls, they're like little laneways through the leaf.
Yep.
Yeah, it's an insect that gets into the meat of the leaf, and it can do some damage to it. It won't usually hurt your tree too much.
Right.
What you can do is you can use a pest oil on that. Have you tried pest oil?
I've got neem oil.
Yeah. Try an oil, or you can make your own as well. That go down the wrong way, did it?
It did. I think I swallowed one whole.
Well, stop eating it, Kate.
I know, stop eating. I'm terrible like this, but I just wanted to show you how beautiful they are. It's just so divine.
It's like little drops, isn't it? Droplets, like tears, little tears.
Beautiful.
You're in tears at the moment.
I'm in tears now.
Yeah.
It's all right. Yeah. You take over.
Okay, I'll take over. Okay, so that's the pomelo. I think we'll move on to the next one, which I was reading the other day. It's just the plain old pumpkin. This is a Kent pumpkin or a Japanese pumpkin. I was reading the other day, or was it a video? Or something, and they were saying that this is in the top 5 foods for health benefits. Have you heard anything about like that? It's hard. There's so many foods, so many things that are good for you. Why would pumpkin be in the top 5?
Well, look, do you know what? I think I see this all the time. You know, you've got people sort of write a story on superfoods and it sort of highlights like one fruit over and above something else, or one vegetable over and above something else. It just might be, you know, in vogue at the moment, but coming into, this is a sort of a wintry plant because it's beautiful for all your roasts and in soups, etc. But the thing about pumpkins, they've got something called carotenoids, which this is the sort of the beta carotene, and that's what gives it that lovely orange flower like colour.
Carotenoids.
Carotenoids.
Right.
Yes, or look, people might say it carotenoids, and it's like it's a pre-vitamin A, so it's a really valuable vitamin for our bodies as well. Plus it's got potassium and sodium work together to balance the fluid in our bodies and the electrolytes. That's what they are. And also, again, lovely fibre. I think, you know, us as dietitians, we're really sort of trying to make sure that people's gut health is as healthy as you can possibly make it. And fibre is one of those things that really, across the board, many of us not even getting half the amount that we need.
Yeah.
So, and you know, it's not just to help us poop.
Yeah,
it's also
I was going to say, fibre just doesn't make you poop. Like a lot of people just think, oh, I eat fibre, so I'm good, you know, downstairs in the dunny. Yeah. It's not true, is it? It's about feeding those good bacteria, in your stomach too.
Yep.
And how much, like we were talking about this since we've started, the gut bacteria.
Yep.
And not that we've kicked this internet sensation off, but how much more are you seeing it? Like they're doing more and more of research into the way the gut bacteria even controls the mind on what you eat.
Yeah, they're looking at inflammation, they're looking at the gut-brain axis, but you know, I kind of, when I start reading things, I disappear down rabbit warrens of information and research. they're now looking at the mouth bacteria as well. It's not just the gut, it's now the mouth.
I've been watching stuff on that as well and reading about it.
And, you know, and absolutely no expert on this, but, you know, the link between the mouth bacteria and me is like dark green leafy vegetables. The link between gut and me is fibre from lots of veggies and salads and things. So, you know, you can't go wrong. And pumpkin, it's also cheap. It's like it's inexpensive to get a really valuable fibre, vitamin, you know, and it's, when you look at the carbohydrate compared to potato and sweet potato, it's probably less than half the carbs. Some people still put it in the carb, you know, area of their foods, but it's beautifully roasted with the skin on. You know, you can use it in sweet cooking as well. You can make cakes, you know, I think pumpkin scones, that was something that was really popular here with one of our
Premier wives.
Yes, yeah, Premier's wife used to make these beautiful pumpkin scones, and she was
Flo.
Flo Bjork-Pearson.
Yeah, Joe's Flo.
Joe's
Flo. Yeah, Flo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Kent pumpkins, Japanese pumpkins, feel the weight of this.
Oh,
you know you've got a good pumpkin harvest when it feels heavier than it looks. This feels really heavy. I reckon it's probably 4.5 kilos.
Wow.
Yeah, and so this is a good pumpkin. If it feels too light, it's probably hollow. It's probably some problems inside. It might be rotten or something like that. If it obviously feels too green and solid, it might be not ready to pick just yet. I've done a video on how to tell when a pumpkin's ripe, but these Kent Japanese pumpkins, they just grow wild in our backyard. Like, I don't plant them. I just leave the vines come up where appropriate. They just meander around the garden all the time. You lost your notes there.
Oh.
And when the season's right, like, they will suffer through summer, usually. If you have a really wet summer like we've done this year, against all the odds, because pumpkin vines and cucurbits and that, they tend to suffer from powdery mildew and from a lot of diseases in the high humidity. This doesn't. If you want a pumpkin that tastes fantastic and can grow pretty much all year round in a subtropical climate, or if you want it really hardy in whatever climate, when you want to just start them, even if you're in a cold climate or a really hot climate, if you're planting them through summer in the cold or through the dry season in the tropical climate, pumpkin, this Japanese pumpkin, that's the thing you need to plant, because it's prolific, it fruits easy, and the vines and the leaves, they just don't get affected as much as other varieties do. So I do recommend that one for sure. It's just one of my favourite veggies of all time.
So when this grows so prolifically in your garden, what do you do with extras? I mean, you're a family of 4, and I know, and you're one of the most generous men I know. It just gives vegetables and things out to neighbours and friends, etc. But how have you tried drying it?
Oh, I haven't tried dehydrating it or freeze drying it. That's probably something I should give a go at. We do just make it into soups and make it into pulp and cut it up, blanch it, throw it in the freezer.
Yep. So it does freeze?
Yeah, it freezes well. You know, you can have too much pumpkin. My youngest, he's only just now, he's 18, and the other day we hid some pumpkin in a potato bake, and he actually ate it, and he said, "This is really good." I said, "You know there was pumpkin in that?" He goes, "You're kidding me."
I see, he's size one. But it gives that sweetness as well. I've sort of had very thin, peels across the flesh, and just dried them on a tray in the oven at a slow heat to make pumpkin chips.
Oh, lovely, yes.
So that kind of thing, and you can put a little bit of some chili on there, or some harissa or something like that, and use them in a taco-y dippy type thing.
Yeah.
It just gives something else to like a corn chip.
Yeah.
So that it actually does work quite nicely, but I haven't done any freeze drying or anything like that. So beautiful.
Yeah, sorry, I realise you guys can't see, it's not in shot, the stuff on the table here, so that's why I'm flicking to that other camera. If I moved this camera away too far, then we just look too small and we're too little,
Yep.
and you can't see us properly. So I just wanted you to have a bit more of a view of us, things that we're the ones yakking. But yeah, I'll switch to that camera more often so that you can see more of what we're talking about when I can think about it. Can you see me down there?
God, you say, we look little. God, I must be just absolutely a pinprick on the screen. I haven't put little and you in the same sentence before, Mark.
Okay, well, let's get on to the last one. The last one is Rosella. Now, I was going to try to switch between the camera then. It's probably easier
Just to take it up
that
there.
I walk around. These are the ones that Mark rejected because we've already harvested our Rosella, and these are too small and they're a bit burnt and yucky looking, but you get the idea. The Rosella is a hibiscus plant, and it forms these calyxes, which is almost like the fruit. They're like petals, and under these petals, this probably is the flower, is this seed here. And well, you cook them all up to make the Rosella jam, which is a very famous jam here in Australia. Have you heard much about Rosella jam?
Oh, I mean, I know about Rosella and Rosella jam. I've
Yep.
never actually made Rosella jam myself, but you're obviously using, so the calyx on the outside is the one that people put into sort of drinks and put into like soda water, and it looks
Yeah.
pretty and those sort of things.
Yes.
Is it actually, is it got a taste to it?
Well, yeah, it's got a nice taste.
It's like berry type thing.
Yeah, it's not sweet. It's like a sour berry,
Yeah.
like a sour raspberry. Yeah.
But I think the what you were asking me before, when I'm looking into the potential health benefits,
Yeah.
what the research is showing from these beautiful Rosellas is it's the oil from the seeds. So when they actually take the seeds out of this little pod, so I've just taken the calyx off the top there, that little sort of seed pod, it's the oil inside that they've extracted and put into capsules and done trials for people to test whether there's some sort of medicinal quality to the actual food. And there seems to be lots of research indicating it's got an antihypertensive benefit, meaning it helps with your blood pressure. So somehow it's helping in these trials, which are, highly sort of regulated trials, so sort of good quality trials. They found that it's actually decreased blood pressure.
Well, that's interesting. I
Which is-
didn't know that. I hadn't read anything about putting the seeds in capsules, but it does remind me of how I cook the jam up. And what you do is you use these seeds, so you don't necessarily crush the seed pod. You keep these separate. You take all the petals or the calyx off, and then you boil these up separately, and they don't usually open up, but they do soften. Sometimes they open up, and then you use the liquid. You use the liquid from these pods to put back into the pulp of the jam, and you cook the calyx up separately, and you make that jam out of it. But then you put this liquid back in there, and for me, it was just a thickener. It's a thickener. It's the pectin from these seeds, right, that makes the jam set.
Wow.
And makes it not runny, so that it's not a syrup. But now I'm thinking it could have health benefits too. Anecdotally, yeah. If you're using the seed in the cooking process, perhaps it's good that it's in the jam as well. Well, we all know that jam has sugar in it, so that's the bad part of it. But it is a very unique jam. I've done a video on how to make Rosella jam, but it's old. I'm thinking of doing another one. I've done a lot of footage on it, and I filmed the last time that I just made this. And I think I might upload another one, maybe a shorter video on how to make Rosella jam. And I also used 1 lemon in the making of it, which I think gave it a little bit of a extra edge. So I've got a cracker biscuit here. Do you want to try some on a cracker biscuit?
What is that answer? Yes, I eat everything. I love it.
Okay.
That's why I come here. When you said, would you like to do some live streaming? As long as I can eat
Like
through the garden.
now, Nina, this is her favourite jam. My wife Nina, she loves it amongst anything else. So I have to make this seasonally for her.
That's enough of them. What does she like so much about it?
I don't know. I do like it, but I don't eat a lot of it. But just try that.
So I can see the little calyx.
Yeah,
residual.
there's. It's not all just jelly. There's bits of fibre throughout.
I mean, it's absolutely beautiful.
You
So
know, it's very unique. It's got a kind of sourness that obviously the sugar complements. Otherwise, it'd be too sour. But it's got an original taste.
It's like nothing you've tasted. Like, it's not even a cherry jam.
No.
I mean, I was born and bred in Canberra, and my mother used to jam every fruit that we grew. So like we had crabapple jelly, we had plum jam, we had like there was another little orange fruit, but we certainly didn't have this, but there's something in this that reminds me of either cherry jam or plum jam, because it's not like a berry. It's not like strawberry, blueberry, raspberry.
No.
It's really lovely. So when you make this, does the actual pod open?
Oh, sometimes, but you strain you strain all the liquid. It's almost like a jelly.
Yep.
During the jam making process, you strain that through a strainer, and then you use that juice.
Yes.
And you put it back into where the pulp is. When you're making the pulp from the calyxes.
Yep.
You put that back in there, and then you start waiting for the setting point.
Right.
Of the jam. I've been making this for 10 years. I mean, I'd probably, I don't want to put tickets on myself, but I'd probably go toe to toe with the best CWAs, the Country Women's Association there is. I reckon I've been just training and training for one day I'm going to go up against them.
I reckon you need to come down to the exhibition, the Royal Exhibition in Brisbane, with your Rosella jam. Dressed like this, you would be an absolute hit. We find someone with some fabulous scones.
I hope there's no one from the CWA watching.
I was going to say, you are going to be nailed.
Yeah, that's right. No, I probably wouldn't beat them, to be honest.
It's beautiful.
But it is good, and it's just unique. And it is an award-winning jam in Australia. It's very famous.
Well, so a jam that could potentially have some health benefits as well. And when you're saying that you're putting the liquid back in, the pectin, which is the gum which makes it nice and thick, that obviously means you can use less sugar in the cooking of it?
Well, not really. It's not the sugar that necessarily sets the jam.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just the flavour.
Yeah, that's the flavour mainly.
Yep.
It's like if you're using, say, if you're maybe a strawberry or some type of berry that doesn't have a lot of pectin in it, you'll get some powdered pectin.
Yep.
Or some gelatin or something like that to help set the jam generally.
Yep.
Or what I do is I will because we've got heaps of lemons, I will just save a heap of lemon seed, and then I will boil those, don't even have to boil them up, just need to sit those lemon seeds in some water overnight, and they'll go jelly-like, that liquid, and the pectin will come out, and then you can use that into your jam, whatever you're making, and that'll help it set.
That's fabulous.
Yeah. There's various ways you can do it, but pectin is a fairly natural product, I believe. So yeah, it shouldn't be too bad for you to buy the powdered stuff, I don't think. But don't quote me on it.
But you're using all your garden. You're using natural.
Use
anyway,
natural if you can. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do so much from the stuff that you have in the garden.
So that was the 5 food crops that we've harvested in May, and also the nutritional benefits of it, really.
Is this a tree? I'm sorry, pardon my
it's a
ignorance.
bush.
It's a bush?
Yeah.
How big does it grow?
They can grow up to 2 metres high, but generally they're about 1 metre to 1.5 metres, if that. So maybe your height?
Yes.
Yeah.
160.
Oh, is it?
God.
Oh, sorry.
1 metre high. Okay, I haven't got a height issue. But can I grow that in a pot?
Yeah, you certainly can.
Because I love that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's
well,
not.
I can give you some seeds to take home.
Well, that's what I've opened
not
here.
them. We'll wait. I'll get you some mature ones.
Yep. Well, that's just
they're
beautiful
not
because
mature enough.
it just looks pretty as well. And so part of the joy of gardening is going out and seeing all this lovely sort of fruit and vegetables hanging off your vines or your trees, but also it actually just frames your garden, your front deck, your back deck, your garden. You know, I've got it sort of around a back deck. I've got my citrus there, so when they do start to fruit, it'll give colour. Maybe I need a pomelo tree, but that's incredible. It really is. I'm going to do a bit more research into that one.
That might be a little harder to grow in a pot.
Yeah, well, you'd probably get one.
Yeah,
if you can.
Yeah.
So it's just beautiful.
They would probably need quite a lot of energy.
I reckon this is a lot of water. A lot of water.
Yeah, exactly. And that's probably why we've got such a good season, because they're not always that big. And I think it's the extra rain we've been having here. I was half expecting it to be raining this morning. It rained all last night.
Yes.
But we got away with it.
Beautiful.
Got a bee coming in, probably one of my bees, coming in to sniff the sweet stuff.
Take it back to the hive. Absolutely.
All right, so that's those 5. Let's get into some Q&A. I'll drag my thing over here so I'm not out of shot, and we'll read some of the comments and try to answer as many questions as we can.
So I have to put my gogs on. So I'm just going to finish off my pomelo.
We've got a delay here, which makes it a little harder. Okay. So if you've got questions, fire away.
It's good to see, like, Bazerna says, I'm going to set up a nice little space where I can place my seedlings. I have low light, but it hasn't been used in a bit, but I'm looking forward to that. See, I mean, just even you're inspiring people to sort of go, look, it's not about vast and large, it's about, you know, what you can do with the space that you have.
All right, Aaron's asking what's cross-pollination and will it affect my melons? It can. Cross-pollination is if you're growing different types of melons and you have a bee come along and go into one flower from one species of melon and then go to another one, you can get, this can happen for many different types of varieties of fruit and veg. You might get a cross-pollination there where it goes to a different variety and you might get a different type of fruit come up. It doesn't happen a lot, but it's possible. How good is alpine ginger compared to other gingers? I don't really know. That's a new one on me, alpine ginger. Yeah, that's something I'm going to have to research myself, but you've triggered a spark off into me. Look, Ryan reckons absolutely great video quality, loving the real stream. Well, that's so good to hear, because we've had some disasters. And even without Kate, I've had several disasters. I've had it raining, I've had my mic stop working, I've had the stream stop working. And speaking of working, we've worked hard to try to technically get this going so that we can do it from the backyard environment. And with more confidence, we'll start moving around. And as I fix my veggie garden up, because it's a disaster at the moment from all this rain, we'll start going from inside the veggie garden as well. Because we've set up the Wi-Fi so that we've got reach all over the property, and we might even start creeping down the hill, even do a chicken talk one day. I don't know. But
that's lovely. Do you know what? I think you make it real, Mark. It's not. This is not about. We don't. Well, when I'm watching this, I don't want to see a schmick, all operational. You know, best quality lighting and things. It's just us. We're two post 50, middle age but you know, trying to sort of impart some sort of information that's valuable to those who are sort of tuning in today. So thank you. That's really, really lovely.
Rosalind's saying she's trying to grow Kent pumpkins in her small backyard, but they're forming and then they're dropping off. We don't know, without seeing them, can't tell you exactly what's happening. It could be an insect problem. Sometimes if that small fruit gets stung as it's forming, it might cause it to fall off. If the small fruit is like really, really tiny, it could mean that it wasn't pollinated properly, and then it won't form, and it looks like a small pumpkin, but it's really just the female end of it, and it's not working. So make sure that if it's a pollination problem, to then get the male flowers and stick them into the female flowers. I don't need to elaborate too much on that, but have a bit of a look online. I won't go explaining it all too much now, and make sure that they are properly pollinated. And if that's not the problem, well, then you make sure that they're getting enough food and sunlight as well to keep and sustain it, because if the plant can't sustain that fruit, it feels like, well, I've got to throw it because I need to keep surviving, and at the moment it's not right, so I'm not going to grow a big fruit if it's going to suck all the energy out of us. My sister just told me to try ginger bombs in the morning. I'm going to get them too. I don't know what a ginger bomb is, but it sounds good.
It sounds.
R&D photo studio. Mark is responsible for getting me into the second year of growing my ginger. I added turmeric this year too. I've learnt so much from this channel. Thumbs up. Well done for getting into it. Frank said good Australian morning to Jay. Could you do a video on propagation? S. Williams. Propagation of, you mean in general, I suppose. I guess so. Simple Wild Living, I've been trying to grow Rosella. They got to 1 inch high for the last 3 months but stopped growing. Any idea? Without knowing where you're growing it, it's difficult to know why they stopped growing. You might be trying to grow them at the wrong time of year, which is a possibility. We've got the next door neighbour's got his blow vac going. If you can hear that in the background, I'm sorry. Thirsty Cult, what's your best producing citrus? And thanks for the years of informational content. Best growing citrus straight away comes to mind is our Tahitian lime tree. It's probably the biggest citrus. It's massive. It's about 7 meters tall, and we've cut it back several times, and we have limes for at least 9 to 10 months of the year. And I just don't mean 1 or 2. I mean so many we can't give them all away. I try to. It's impossible.
I'm just trying to look up alpine ginger.
Are you?
It's like from Southeast Asia.
Oh.
But it's like it's a perennial. It's a very pretty plant. So they sometimes call it shell ginger.
Oh, right. So is it an edible? Oh, it must be, I guess.
Alpinia zerumbet.
Because you can get lots of different types of gingers that have beautiful flowers.
Yeah.
But they might not all be edible.
Yeah, so it's also Rosacea purpurea.
Ginger, here's one for you, Kate. Ginger, honey and aloe vera juice.
Oh, yum.
Is fantastic tea for the gut.
Yes.
Can you eat aloe vera?
Yeah, because it's an anti-inflammatory.
Oh.
Yeah, so you put aloe vera on your skin and
Yeah.
it's kind of sort of takes the inflammation from sort of sundown, like if you've been burnt. But yeah, honey, aloe vera and ginger, absolute winner.
You know, anecdotally for me, I sometimes get a bit burnt, which I shouldn't, especially at my age. But when I do get a little burnt, I've got an aloe vera plant. I always rub it on. I snap off a branch or whatever you call it, and I just cut it open with a knife and then just smudge it all over my face. And often than not, the next morning, it's gone.
Well, does it take that burn feel off?
It does
it's
as well,
therapeutic?
yeah.
So,
yeah.
look, you know, unfortunately, we can't know what's happening in the gut, but what we can do is trial. It's trial and error. And, you know, I think people have just, you know, gone out there and gone, well, this has the properties that I'm looking for, combine them together. I think that'd be really beautiful as a hot drink as well, just before bed. So some aloe vera, some hot water, honey, and your ginger. And also the other lady that was growing some turmeric, same sort of thing. So they're the two powders that I have. So when I leave here and I've taken a few, you know, little sort of rhizomes, cutting it, drying it, and then I blend it in like an old coffee bean blitzer, and it is a beautiful powder. And if you smell that compared to some of the ones that you buy at the supermarket, there's just no smell in there.
No comparison.
There's no comparison. So
No.
it's just this beautiful flavour.
I don't know what they do, but it's so true. You can buy some spices and ground up spices from the store that are really terrible. Maybe they're old or something, and they've lost it. Mass produced.
Yep.
Maybe they're adding something else like a filler to it that thins it out. But when I make my own turmeric and ginger powder and even dill powder that you can mix with a mayo and put that with some battered fish, it's magnificent.
Beautiful.
It's a lot different to the powders you can buy.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when you're trying something for the first time, you want to try it at its best. So a lot of people say that, you know, ginger's just not a nice flavour, but, you know, they haven't tried something on the board here, drying it, powdered form, in your lovely food. So I think we're speaking to the converted, which is what it sounds like.
Yeah, like Mandy just said, oh my, we're already an hour in. Time flies when you're having fun.
Exactly.
Yeah, it does go very quickly.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, you mind to keep going for another 5 or 10?
If people want to, look, you know, if there's something that I can provide or give, or just stand here being sort of like, you know, the Statler and Waldorf, I'll be the Waldorf of the two.
Roger's saying, are you having problems with tomato moth? I had a problem, and after wrap up of fruits, they grew healthy. Well, that's true. If you're having problems with any insects eating your fruit and veg, the best and probably really the only way is exclusion, because you can spray them with pesticides and fill them with poison, and that will work, but there's no saying that that's going to be good for you in the long term. You're ingesting those things or smelling them and them coming in the air and killing other good insects indiscriminately. You know, I'm not going to go on a big organic rant, but at the end of the day, you can get by. Exclusion, putting a net over or putting a bag over the fruit or something like that is a bit of a hassle, I know, but that is still one of the best ways to do it. And then you know that you're getting an organic, beautiful fruit and veg. Mark, I have ants getting into my corn. Any remedies? Ants getting into the corn. I wonder if they're chasing something else. It is unusual. Did you see the fire ants? We had the fire ant guys come out here yesterday, and they went through our property, and they put some baits around. These are harmless baits apparently to everything except for the queen ant. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Not even the fire ants
Just
die
the queen.
from it, just the queen.
Oh,
and the queen doesn't die, the queen goes sterile if she eats this, or the ants eat it and give it to her. And she goes sterile, and then the colony collapses. So so that just reminded me, those ant thing. I don't know how you would stop the ants getting in your corn though.
But why do ants go? Is it something about water? Because I know that sometimes, like if water's coming, the ants go to sort of our letterbox, or they'll go somewhere and they just build up this huge mass. And sometimes it might be in the back of your, you know, your TV or something, like one of your, like the back of the toaster or something. They go and they're moving away from water. So maybe are they going towards the husk part to get away from extra? Is there a lot of water in your area?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'd say they're probably eating the corn. Thanks for the super chat, MS. Thank you very much. He's saying, thank you both so much, appreciate everything. And then there's 3 thumbs up with that. But that's very nice. Yeah, I mean, you could try a little bit of Vaseline around the stem of the corn plants to stop and untrain the ants from going up the stems. That's all I could think of organically at this stage. He's saying they are eating the corn. We've had plenty of rain. Yeah, sometimes you're going to have crop failures. Like we've had a whole heap of grasshoppers here this season, and I lost my corn. Speaking of corn, but the grasshoppers mainly ate it because it was just incessant. The grasshoppers were huge, and organically, sometimes you just do get beaten. But what you do is you just grow other things that grow better, and sometimes things like Rosella or Pomelo or other fruits and veg grow and outcompete some of the conventional crops, and that way you can rely on them that season, and then the next season you might have a good crop of corn. So don't despair if you have failures in the garden. It happens to me all the time. Just pivot and do something else and take advantage of something that's a glut that season, and don't worry about something else that failed.
God, you should be a motivational speaker. Yeah, exactly.
What part of Australia is your garden? We live in southeast Queensland. I personally live in Belmere, so it's a little place about 45 kilometres north of Brisbane, at the back of Caboolture. Lovely little area.
It's a little bit cooler than Brisbane, and you tend to get more rain here, so it's probably perfect growing conditions.
Kate, is there a Thirsty Cult says, is there a significant nutritional difference between ripe and unripe fruit? Like, what are we talking about? What's something you can eat ripe and unripe?
Well, if it's only just ripe, like a banana, so the green bananas, they tend to have a better gut fibre for you. So there's more what we call resistant starch. That's your prebiotics that make their way to the gut. So a lot of like the gut gurus are talking about sort of green banana flour or green bananas. You obviously don't want to eat them too raw, because my understanding is that very unripe fruit can give you a bit of a stomach upset. The more ripe something is, the more sugar it actually has. So the more sugars that build up in there. So a more ripe banana will actually have more functional sugars in there, and it continues to ripen a little bit when you freeze them as well. So things like, I guess, it's hard to tell when something is just ripe. So if an apple is overripe, it gets a bit floury, it dries out a little bit. So if the liquid is drying out in the fruit, you're going to lose some of your B group vitamins and your vitamin C. So it's just finding that sweet spot of, just ripe, which we don't really get the benefit of that if you buy sort of off the supermarket shelf, but you can come out to a tree, squeeze and feel when it's, like vine ripe and tree ripe, and they're probably the best ways. But there is a bit of evidence that sort of pre-ripe, just before it's ripe, can be so beneficial to some of that resistant starches to the gut.
I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially green bananas.
Well, there's it's Jerusalem artichoke, green banana flour, some of your your chickpea flours and things. They are using this to help colonize the gut. It's not putting the probiotics in there. It's the feeding. It's the fuel to feed up your gut bacteria.
Yep, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I grow watermelon from Maya? Yes, but it's usually grown through the spring and summertime here, and I haven't grown it for a while, to be honest. But I don't think it would have done too well through this wet, humid summer. But yeah, I do grow it occasionally. King's Cleaning said, yes, Kate, top information. It's impossible from supermarket.
I know. I mean, look, sometimes, you know, people do negative towards what I say because I sound like I'm trying to live in the perfect world. I mean, we can't all grow everything, and sometimes we've got to buy things from the supermarket or the fruit shops, but just, you know, find your little local area that sort of is buying from, like the markets. We've got something called the Rockley markets here, and our producers from all over southeast Queensland and North Queensland bring all their stuff, and the trucks ship them out. Quite often some of those can still be on supermarket shelves and some can be on the fruit shop shelves. You've just got to kind of know what you're looking for, so you've got to be able to squeeze and touch and smell, and also those wonderful fruit shop owners that chop things up like this. It'll be sitting on the shelf, and then there'll be a little bowl where you have some stuff that you can try. But it's the perfect way to see if you like the taste, or if it's actually, you know, if it's been sort of ripened in the right way. I know that's probably going to disappear at some stage because of handling and food and cross-contamination, but it's nice to still see a little bit of the fruit chopped up there that you can taste it and go, yep, that's lovely, I'll buy them.
Yeah, oh, for sure. That's a great way to display fruit and to know what's inside it. Sometimes you're not quite sure if the pumpkins, for example, are really ripe and what type of quality they are until you do cut them on. And then you cut them on, you can see, oh, this one's a darker, more richer quality, and you can have just variations. So it is nice to see fruit and veg cut open sometimes. Yeah, for sure.
Well, like your pineapple, so you're like a guru pineapple grower, but I honestly cannot pick a pineapple from, you know, a fruit shop shelf or a supermarket shelf. I don't know what I'm doing, squeezing, and 9 times out of 10 I take it home, cut it, and it's all brown inside, or it's got a really
it's too green.
It's too green, and it's really fibrous-y, so you end up just not buying them.
Yeah.
So
definitely grow your own pineapples if you can. You can grow them in containers easy.
Excellent.
And you can get the small ones that don't take up much space.
Yep.
They grow them a lot in Asia, the little hand grenade ones. And they'll only have a small bush, and you can grow them in a little row of pots. You don't even have to have a very big container to the plant. You can have a tiny container and just remember to water them, but they're very, very space efficient and they're very low water. And yes, you only get a small bit of fruit, but sometimes that's all you need.
Yep. And do you grow that from the actual stem, like the top?
Yeah, then you grow it back from the stem.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm inspired now.
Pardon me. So I think, people are asking about the T-shirt. Well, I've just been giving these away, you know, occasionally at when we go and do a speak in public somewhere. And so we haven't sold these just yet. Please, I know where people are after some of these. I don't know why this would be particularly popular, because it is pretty ugly.
It's not, it's fantastic. I walked in and went, there's the fruit man, the veggie man.
It's got me on the back.
Do you know what? Like if you,
and it's
he
got
can sell
Scooter.
These. And Scooter.
Yeah, the old Scooter.
Beautiful. Honestly,
Scooter's
I'm lucky I'm getting one today.
Yeah, Kate's going to get one. Scooter's not with us anymore. But yeah, so I'm not sure if I will make these and then sell them. But what I can say is that we've got an online store that's getting done at the moment, and it's about a month away. And we're working hard on getting several designs, hopefully a little bit more classier than this. And the idea is I want people to be able to purchase, like you got fishing shirts and all that, and there's a big range of fishing shirts out there and other shirts for other things, but you don't see many gardening specific shirts. So I'm hoping to get several, maybe even 10 in the end, gardening shirt designs that are full SPF 50, that block the sun, that are made from recycled materials. This one here is made from recycled plastic bottles. And it's a long story, I'm not going to get into it now, but basically, believe me, they're very eco-friendly and they are absolutely fantastic to wear. They're sweat wicking, they're sun stopping, so I'm going to get these shirts done And so once I do, I'll go hard and let you guys know, and hopefully some of you might buy a few of them. But until that happens, you'll just have to watch this space and just wait. But I might put these for sale, the remaining of them. I think I've got about 80 left. We'll see. And then if they go, maybe I might produce some more of them, but I'm not sure why many people would want it.
Oh my God.
I'd call it the Technicolor yawn.
Well, I tell you what, you could wear that to the Formula One. You could wear that to a Formula One race and it would stick out. And honestly, you know, some of those shirts are, you know, this is good. This is a good looking one.
So we're going to upgrade the website, selfsufficientme.com. Make sure you go check that out. Check it out now because it looks like the old Pinterest. And then you'll see when we upgrade the website in about a month's time, it's nearly ready. Then you'll see, oh, well, that's a nice change. Mark's done well there, hopefully. And then you'll see the store and all that as well. And make sure you check out Kate's socials too. And, well, your books as well, if you've got kids.
Yep, but I also look, from this, I've had a few people from different parts of the world that I've done some telehealth with. So I've actually done some online, so had some like a consult online, which has been really, really fabulous.
And how do they contact you through that?
They're just like a direct message.
Okay.
Direct message, and I've got a camera, and so we set it up according to the time zone.
All right.
So it's really, I had a lovely lady here in India, so it was really good.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh, so, nice, all the way from India.
So Nadia, if you're there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that was really good. So thank you.
All right, so see Kate's socials and her links are down below in the description of the video, and I'll probably throw it in the pinned comment as well. And I think that's about it. Thanks, Mandy, for helping us out in the moderation section.
Thank you, Mandy.
Sorry if I didn't get to your questions and all that. I will endeavour to, if you want, repost that in the comment section below, and I'll go through, probably answer the first 100 or so in the comment section anyway. And Kate's going to be monitoring that too over the next several weeks. So
just put Kate at the start of your comments so that I'll go directly to that if there is one for me.
Yeah. And I think that's about that then.
Beautiful.
So thank you very much, everyone. Cheers and bye for now.
See ya.
Okay, I'll end stream. Your stream will stop